permanent settlements in the Negev, which is the southern part of the land of Israel, depends for their living mainly on water sources. From the watershed of the Negev Mountains and to the east, the country is arid, with very little precipitation. In the Arava Valley, where the main longitudinal trade route of the Negev passed, settlements were established to serve the trade caravans. These settlements were established only at sites and junctions where springs of water existed. For example, Etzion Geber and Eilat on the shore of the Red Sea, Khirbet Feinan, known by the Roman as Feino, in the east side of the Jordan River, where there were large copper mines, and near Ein Hatzeva is the biblical settlement of Tamar, which was the important junction of the trade convoys in the Arava Valley and was fed by the local spring. We are a kilometer north of Ein Hatzeva, in the biblical town of Tamar, or Tamara as it was called in the Roman period. And the Roman period is 1,000 years after its establishment during the time of King Solomon. The place is also named Hetzeva Fortress. The settlement existed throughout the period of Judah and Israel kingdoms, and in total for approximately 1,500 years, from the time of King Solomon until the end of the Byzantine period. Today I will focus on Hetzeva Fortress during the Nabatean period in the 1st century BC and in the Roman-Byzantine period. The site is located at an important crossroads. Here the road north goes to the Dead Sea and Ein Bokek and continues to Ein Gedi and Jerusalem. To the south, the road reaches Yotveta and then Eilat. The road from the southeast also passes here from the copper mines of Feino to the west through Ma'ale Akrabim, which means in English the Scorpion Ascent, and then continues to Mamshit in the north of the Negev. The site is located near Ein Hatzeva spring, in Arabic named Ein Husub, which means the spring of abundance, which was one of the abundant springs in the central Arava. In the 1960s, drilling for water source in the area caused the groundwater to drop and the spring to dry. Today, only the ancient juju tree, several hundred years old. Look at this amazing tree. Actually, from where it is, we can learn about the location of the spring. It is difficult to determine with certainty the age of the tree because the juju tree does not form annual rings in the trunk. According to the findings, the site was used throughout the kingdom era, from the 10th century BC until the destruction of the first temple in 586 BC. Also, during the Nabatean period in the 1st century BC and during the Roman and Byzantine periods. Today, we will focus on the periods associated with the Nabatean kingdom and the Byzantine Roman period. And now a view on the incense trade route. The incense trade route was part of a network of trade routes between Europe and the East, where luxury goods were transported. Mainly perfumes, precious stones, special spices, and other special goods. The principle being products of high value in small volume or weight. This road, which started in the Far East, crossed the Arabian Peninsula and continued to Petra and Gaza. This trade route and the involvement of the Nabateans in the incense trade are mentioned in the writing of historians. After the annexation of the Nabatean kingdom to the Roman Empire in 106, the Roman authorities continued to own the trading stations of the Nabateans along the incense trade route. These stations and a chain of fortresses established by the Romans along the way existed until the middle of the 3rd century. The main route passed through Moa, Nahal Nekarot and Ma'ale Mahmal, and from there continue to Ovdat. It seems that in the second half of the 3rd century, the route was diverted and passed through Hetzeva Fortress, here. From here to Ma'ale Akrabim, or Scorpion's Ascent in English, and then Mamshit, and from there continued to Gaza. In the second half of the 3rd century, a square fortress was built. Its sides are 46 meters each. At the end of the century, probably during the reign of the Emperor Diocletian, 4 prominent towers were added. The large find of pottery and coins shows that the fortress was destroyed in the middle of the 4th century, probably by the earthquake in 344, and was rebuilt again afterwards. Coins and various pottery were found in the fortress room. The final destruction of the fortress was apparently in the earthquake of the year 363, in which Petra was also destroyed and has not been restored since then. A Roman bathhouse was discovered here. Roman baths were a central element of everyday reality in ancient times. Not only from the functional aspect as a place where you bath, but mainly as a significant factor in the cultural, social framework of those days. In a bathhouse, the room had a double floor. On top of the lower floor were pillars about 50 to 60 centimeters high, and on them stone slabs that formed the floor of the hot room. Adjacent to the walls of the hot room, at the level of the lower floor, a fire was burning. The flames and the hot air created by the fire passed through the space between the lower and upper floors and between the pillars. The remains of this double floor are the most distinct archaeological hallmark of a Roman bathhouse. A typical Roman bathhouse included a system of rooms with different heat levels: a lukewarm room, tabidarium, a hot room, caldarium, and a cold room, frigidarium. The order of rooms to bath varied from place to place. The Roman fortress in Hetzeva was the largest fortress built by the Romans in the Arava region, and that is for the protection of the borders of the Roman Empire. This system included fortresses, forts, and towers that were deployed along roads of strategic importance. The formation was designed to protect the trade route close to the desert from the inhabitants of the desert. Their livelihood was based on the booty they took from caravans of merchants and travelers who wanted to cross the desert on the way to the major trading centers in the east of the Roman Empire, such as Jerusalem and Gaza. And to conclude, as usual, I have a question for you. In the Roman period, in the territory of the Kingdom of Judah, they grew a plant from which they produced a valuable perfume. What is the name of the perfume? The answer, as usual, in 5 seconds.